Hey y'all. There's water in here, by the way. Water. Trying to represent. All right, I'm just going to jump right into some of the things that have been happening with people here. Just a kind of a bunch of little, like, I don't know, just like little lines or phrases or things that pop up as we go through stuff, and then I sort of elaborate on it in my mind. But for instance, I had someone in today, and I was talking about how lots of people fold over, but not many extend. And what I meant is I see people lots of the times fold over and just round over here and look like this. Instead of here, still see a lot of this. And I don't see nearly as many people, worried about this one and spending more time extending. And I think it's just the natural for gravity just sort of naturally is going to pull you down or make it easier to fold over. So I think a lot of people fold over and it makes them feel good about stretching. Although when you're rounding over there, as you can see, it can start to take the shape more of this chair. I can raise this up a little bit. This chair here rounding. You don't see a lot of sitting here. You tend to see here, and it's what happens. So when you're tired, you need to get up, and it needs to be the other direction, right? Back this way. Right, so it just came up as I was talking to someone this morning about how I see so many people that will fold, but I don't see nearly as many people extending. And really, with all the sitting, it's the extending that, we all need a lot more of. There was another one that came up was an older lady. She's in her 70s. And so I told her that, for her, we've got to be doing bodybuilding to stay neutral. It's kind of the evil word, bodybuilding. But we've got to be doing some bodybuilding to stay neutral. Because as she's getting older, and as we get older, the muscle tissue just goes out the window. Technical term, sarcopenia. But essentially, we just lose muscle tissue. So the big elephant in the room is talking about bodybuilding. And basically, that just means, a little bit of lifting where there's some moderate volume just to get some muscle growth, to encourage some muscle growth. Not to necessarily get bigger, but just to not get smaller. So for her, it's a big deal. She's at that time of her life where hanging on to that is super important. Another one that came up was you can't push a chain. And I was referring to someone trying to speed up their adaptation to training. There's certain things you can do. Obviously, you can sleep a little bit more. You can eat a little bit better. Drink some more water. Take care of yourself. Minimize the stress. Do your exercise. But you can't pull your tomatoes up any faster. When they're going to grow the speed they're going to grow. You can't push a chain. You can pull a chain. You can encourage it. You can come with. But you can't push it and force it. So keep that in mind when you're laying out your training. You can't push a chain. Another one, I had a guy and I was talking about form follows function. And, he was a little tight on that hinge pattern that we talked to a few episodes back. I think in the second episode. But anyway, where we talked about hinging, and he wasn't as good at hinging as he needed to be. So there's a drill we do called the leg on the wall, where you put your leg up on the wall. And, basically told him that if you spend some time with your leg on the wall, you get better suited to do it. And I made a reference to my finger. You probably can't see it here. You might can see it. I play guitar. So these fingers here all have calluses on them, and these do not. And it's not from taking anything or any programs or nutrients or anything in particular. It's from doing it on a regular basis. My skin on this hand has gotten tougher as compared to this one. So just think about that as you're doing your exercising. You're trying to create patterns and movements that you want to grow to become like, right? So in his case, it had one leg up on a wall, so it was creating this 90-degree angle here, which was passively going to make more space in his hips there, and the more time he spends there, the more it's going to be like my fingers. If he spends a month doing that regularly, he's going to be better at it. So I think just sort of keeping an idea on consistency over time. I guess that's what it comes down to: consistency over time and being repetitive. I mean, that seems to be. That's the one that makes a difference in everybody. The more I see consistency over time, the more I see results. So keep that in mind. Another one was software versus hardware. Sometimes I can do some drills with people and I can have them maybe, say, touching their toes, and they hadn't touched their toes since who knows when. Well, if that's the case, then in the course of a session, there's no way that I change their hardware that much. There's no way that I change the actual tissues in their body. So in order for them to be touching their toes, then we had to change something neurological. So that's what I mean when I talk about a software issue. For instance, sometimes people have muscles that tighten when they need to be loosening to do something else, and it's just a pattern they're in. So if we can come up with ways to change that pattern, release the tension going into a certain muscle group, all of a sudden we have more room, right? So that is an adjustment to software. That's what we do with corrective drills. That's how I use the drills I have in a progression in a progressive way to take people where I need them to go. And you're trying to do it through these neurological changes. It's not just do the drills and hope it works. It's also get in there, change the software, and then form follows function, as I mentioned earlier, the fingertips. If you can get in there and change those patterns, then you can change the person. So anyway, I don't know. There's a bunch that have come up in the last couple of days. That's just typical days. That's just, the kind of stuff that happens all the time. People come in, you never know what you're going to get, but there's lots of them, and I'll try and do my best to keep pushing them out there, and hopefully you'll enjoy them. Talk to you soon.